here on RTE2. Well, now when they met 3 years ago, it was certainly a tight, tense affair. This time around, the Dubs are the clear favourites to win, but can Donegal put a stop to their gallop? Joining me in studio are Colin O'Rourke, Pat Spillane and Joe Brolly. And I suppose before we talk about today's match, Pat, we have to reflect on last night. More drama done in Limerick, and I'm sure everybody is thrilled in the kingdom today.
It was, as a Kerry man, it was a really brilliant display. I mean, even the most dyed-in-the-wool Kerry supporter would never have dreamt at the start of the year that this was a Kerry team that would reach an All-Ireland final. I think what Eamon Fitzmaurice has achieved as manager is just unbelievable, because I don't know of any manager in any sport who gets a team who has to rebuild. He has a team in transition and he gets them to the final of the major competition, and that's what Eamon Fitzmaurice has done. They were simply superb yesterday. Individually, David Morden, James O'Donoghue, tactically very solid. Defensively, they're brilliant now. I've never seen a Kerry team so good in defending. From number 1 to number 15, they're brilliant in tackling, they're brilliant on the turnovers, and at the same time, while they do pay a lot of attention to the defensive skills, you had traditional Kerry football on display there. Beautiful kick passing. Kerry footballers are very comfortable on the ball, and the one thing a Kerry football team will always bring to a game, they bring belief and they bring tradition. And when Kerry will come to Croke Park in a couple of weeks' time to play the All-Ireland final, they will believe they can win it. And, you know, it was look, first of all, secondly, it was just a brilliant day to be in Limerick yesterday. I mean, the match itself was an unbelievable contest. It had everything you demanded of a sporting contest. You know, whether it was entertainment, it was enthralling, it was intense, brilliant individual displays. It was a credit to the management and team on both sides. But, you know, you say, at the end, why did Kerry come through? And it's something that you can coach. Yes, they have good footballers, yes, they have good management, but they showed unbelievable heart and character. And that
were able to transform the pitch from yesterday. Whatever the rights and wrongs about playing football, I think the ground staff here in Croke Park deserve great credit. It was amazing when you saw the pitch yesterday on Croke Park, how small an American football pitch seemed. So it looks beautiful. The sod is faster than anywhere else in the country. The pitch is slightly bigger, not that much bigger than a lot of other places, but it suits Dublin's fast-moving style of football.
And certainly the parachutist didn't leave any marks on it yesterday anyway. Joe Brolly.
He was lucky he didn't get killed.
He
landed on the train tracks.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
he was close to.
Here's the fascinating thing about today's game. When these two sides met 3 years ago, it was a horrible game of football. And yet, there's an enthusiasm out there for this match. I mean, the capacity crowd here in Croke Park, people are really looking forward to this.
Well, I think the reason that people are looking forward to it is that, you know, Dublin have rolled over everyone, and, you know, it's a bit like the unbeaten heavyweight champion of the world who hasn't been tested yet, but who's knocking everybody out in a few rounds. You know, they're scoring 222 in every game, and now they're meeting a team. The odds are weird, I think. I think this could be a very, very surprising, certainly an absorbing, fascinating game of football, because, you know, I think that Dublin's system, which is very carefully thought out, will reduce the impact of Donegal's system. But there's no doubt that Donegal's system remains the state-of-the-art defensive template in the game. They play with great composure, and you see that filtering through all the Donegal teams. Now look at their minor team who've just beaten the Dubs. I mean, I was talking to Declan Bunner a few weeks ago in Narossa when we had about, well, certainly 10 pints. And
you had probably, yes.
Well, he remained intelligible anyway as the night went on. But, you know, he was worried about Dublin. You know, he was just worried because, you know, this idea of the juggernaut and the Dublin minors had steamrollered everyone and all of that. But you see the composure the Donegal minor team showed today, and they were very patient. They kept the Dublin scores very low. They struck, you know, at the right times in the game. And so the question is whether Dublin's system, because obviously Dublin have better players, who in the Donegal team would get on the Dublin team? Michael Murphy. Possibly Frank McGlynn now. Carl's not at the level that he was at. He would have been in the Dublin team. So there's no doubt that when you compare the two teams, Dublin are far superior. That's never the way it's been with Jim McGuinness. And don't forget, they were the All-Ireland champions 2 years ago, and emphatic All-Ireland champions.
We won't forget that. And by the way, don't forget yourself that you can have your say on the outcome of today's game, because you can tweet your prediction for Dublin or Donegal to win. It's #SundayGame. By the way, you can also get onto our Facebook page and you can vote there as well. Well, now there's no doubt that the aforementioned Michael Murphy has been Donegal's marquee player in recent years, and Jim McGuinness has certainly been their most successful manager. They've enjoyed provincial and All-Ireland success together, but now they face another major challenge. It's a clash of footballing cultures today here at Croke Park. But who will come out on top? It is, of course, Donegal versus Dublin. And the throw-in is coming up shortly. It's at 3:30. Looking forward to it. Joe Bradley, we were listening to Mark McHugh talking to Claire a little bit earlier on. He was talking about the belief that Jim McGuinness has put into this Donegal side.
You ever have a personal chat with Jim McGuinness? Do you ever actually speak to him?
I did actually, yes.
You come away bouncing. He gave a motivational talk in Maharal College and the teachers came out bouncing, Dermot Nicholl told me. And he has that impact. I mean, anyone who could persuade that disparate rabble in 2011 they were going to be Ulster and All-Ireland champions, and then they were within 18 months, you know, is a force to be reckoned with.
The template was very simple.
Hold on, just let me finish for a second. The big issue when you play the Dubs now is belief. Monaghan came, they were already beaten. You could see that. Their horizons are an Ulster title, but you could see they played with fear. This year in the championship to date, no team has expected anything against the Dubs. They haven't played with belief. Last year, Kerry took them to the brink. Mayo took them to the brink. Today, I believe, will be a huge test for the Dubs, and I think they know that inside themselves, because the Donegal team won't flinch.
Yes.
As Mark McHugh says, they will believe. Now, you look at the man-to-man, you think it's barely credible that they're in a position to compete with the Dubs, which gives you an idea of the extent of Comrade McGuinness's revolution there, you know.
Yeah.
But one thing you have to admire, I mean, you have to admire what Jimmy McGuinness, when he took over Donegal, they were ranked the 19th best team in Ireland. When he met them in that meeting in Downings in late 2010, he said we'd have an All-Ireland within 3 years. They had an All-Ireland within 2 years.
Yes.
But what McGuinness provided, he provided the leadership and the vision. And there was 4 things. The Donegal mantra for the last couple of years was 4 things the players had to commit. Commit, focus, believe and achieve. And that template could be used for any team.
It surely could. All right, time to confirm both team lineups ahead of the throw-in. So let's join Darragh Maloney and Martin Carney in the commentary box.
Michael, thank you very much indeed. The summer is back on the north side of Dublin City. It's a lovely afternoon here. The crowd still coming in, and this match a sellout. It's been a sellout since Friday. A crowd of approaching 82,000 expected here for the second All-Ireland football semi-final. Martin Carney is here beside me. And Martin, an air of mystery about Donegal. They've just confirmed their team in the last few minutes. 2 changes, which we'll talk about in due course. Well, what do you expect from Donegal today?
Well, I would expect, if they're to win it, they need to get a very good defensive performance in place early on in the game and stay in the contest, but also they need to have a balance with a good offensive performance and get Michael Murphy on the end of quite a bit of their movement. And you know, they just haven't scored enough for my liking so far in the championship. And if you look at the bench, Dara, the Dublin bench has scored 223 up to now. The Donegal bench only won 5. That bench today from both sides will be a very important factor.
OK, Martin, well, let's have a look at the 2:15, starting with the reigning All-Ireland champions, Dublin unchanged following their win over Monaghan in the quarter-final. Stephen Cluxton was this week described as one of this team's irreplaceables by former teammate Barry Cowell. His performances continue to impress, as well as having a kick-out which has changed the game. He's only conceded 2 goals in 4 matches in 2014. The matchup's vital. Rory O'Carroll is expected to mark Michael Murphy, who would relish a battle in the air with the Dublin fullback. But O'Carroll, will he stay in his position when Murphy heads out the field? We will see. Johnny Cooper has developed into a major player for this team. He's chipped in with the odd point, but he anchors a very fast half-back line, which doesn't contain Jack McCaffrey, who can't get back into this side. Cian O'Sullivan is one of the most underrated players in this team, but he's one of the most highly regarded by players who have played against him or are about to. And Paul Flynn has been mentioned already. He must be one of the first names on Jim Gavin's team sheet. The Fingalians man, always busy, a great option at kick-out time, and all the shooting practice he did at DCU over the years with Michael Murphy continues to reap dividends on the scoreboard. Bernard Brogan's matchup with Neil McGee should be very special. Brogan has been in top form this year, and as well as scoring himself, he tends to bring out the best in those around him. Now, Donegal, 2 changes to their 15. If Stephen Cluxton is the top goalkeeper in the country, well, Paul Durkin is number 2. His kickouts also superb. He has the ability to disguise them, and that's worked very well for Donegal this year. The McGee's vital to this team. Neil in top form at full-back, reads the game extremely well, even chipped in with a point in the win over Armagh the last day. And Carl Lacey has battled his way back to full fitness after a frustrating 2013. The 4 Masters man is fast approaching the sort of perform, which won him the Footballer of the Year award in their All-Ireland year. And Neil Gallagher comes into this match after 2 huge performances in the Ulster final and then against Armagh. 3 in a row could set up something very special for Donegal. Now the 2 changes. Rory Kavanagh is in for Christy Toy in the Donegal half-forward line. That had been rumoured and expected, and it's come to pass. The other switch, Paddy McBrearty from Kilcar, drops to the bench. David Walsh is his replacement, and we have him here starting at corner forward. That's the Donegal team. You've seen the Dublin team. We are almost ready to go, Michael.
Thanks, Dara. Interesting changes on that Donegal team. Colin O'Rourke, you're looking at a player from each side that you want to kind of run the eye over on this one. I suppose Michael Murphy is a pretty obvious one in Donegal. But for Dublin, James McCarthy is a player in that half-back line that's certainly been catching the eye.
You know, James McCarthy is not empowered to do their own thing. I hope Donegal take Dublin long enough where they ask serious mental questions of them, but for me it has to be Dublin.
All right, by the way, we talked to you about the Twitter account earlier on and who you fancy. 61% of you said Dublin will win, 39% are going for Donegal. Pat Spillane, who are you going for?
Well, I'm looking forward to it because, like Colin said, it's going to be a contrasting styles. We know what Donegal are going to bring to the table, a brilliant defensive system, great character, great composure. I look at the Donegal team and I see a team, however, that's 4 years on the go, a running game that has used up an awful lot of energy. I don't think this Donegal team are at the peak as they were 2 years ago. I think this is a Donegal team in decline. I think it's in contrast, it's a Dublin team on the rise. And I just think with the relentless pace and running at Donegal, that no defence will keep that Dublin team out for 70 minutes full stop.
Donegal in decline. I'm going to keep that one in the back of my head for later on, just in case. Joe Bradley, you call it.
There's a big mural of Jim McGuinness as Che Guevara outside Lettermec Award, you know. Che Guevara famously said, the guerrilla force is not necessarily weaker because it has inferior firepower. The problem I think that Donegal have is the Dublin system.
Cuba never played games.
Dublin system, you know, may well be the antidote to Donegal's system. So that the great advantage that Donegal had throughout 2012 was ambush after ambush of unsuspecting victims. They don't have that today. And when the systems cancel each other out, then it's the better players who generally carry the day. And the most impressive thing about Dublin is the spread of scoring and the sheer pace throughout the team. You know, I think it's a very difficult game to predict. I cannot understand the odds, but you would have to feel that when it comes right to it at the end, that Dublin will be able to squeeze the scores to win it.
All right, thanks, lads. By the way, don't forget that you can access our coverage of the GA Championships worldwide via GA Go. Just visit gago.ie for more details. All right, then, the venue is packed, the stage is set. It's time to hand over to our
referee, Eamon Fitzmaurice, the Kerry manager. What a night for him in Limerick last night. A very interested spectator here in Croke Park. They await the winners. Will it be Dublin? Will it be Donegal? The next 70-odd minutes of football will reveal all. McQuillan throws the ball in, and away we go. Massive noise around Croke Park. Frank McGlynn picking it up for Donegal, and now it's Neil Gallagher drilling it long. Colin McFadden is up there on his own at the moment. Carl Lacey sneaking forward, the centre-back. Lacey has Rory Kavanagh free. Kavanagh's inside. James McCarthy came to meet him. He's gone down free to Donegal.
Yeah, great work that time from Donegal. Great movement up along the wing. Good support back. Lovely kick ball into actually McFadden. And Kavanagh that time met full frontal, actually it was, by James McCarthy. So that is a free in. The shoulder was not side to side. Frontal, therefore correctly a free in.
Well, one of the many thoughts and theories about how Donegal would set up here was that they would really go after Dublin for the first 10 minutes, and James McCarthy getting a yellow card inside the first minute, and that is not anywhere near ideal for the Ballymun Kickoffs man. A yellow against James McCarthy for the challenge, and Michael Murphy, the captain, gives Donegal the lead. And he heads out the field. They thought that they would put Michael Murphy in at full forward and try and launch the ball in long. Donegal will contest the kickouts, but not tight enough on Philly McMahon. Michael Fitzsimons, and now Dermot Connolly drives forward. The pitch looks remarkably good considering there was an American football match played here last night. Johnny Cooper is hit hard. Now Dermot Connolly. Donegal have 13 players inside their own 45-metre line. Here's Paul Flynn. Flynn steadies down, drills it. Equaliser. Stunning point, and all that kicking practice that he's put in DCU over the years with Michael Murphy has paid off. Takes his chances, one each.
Yeah, beautiful bit of recycling the ball, and again Flynn takes the responsibility from distance, and that's the way you can overcome a blanket defence. That's a very good response from Dublin.
Paul Durkin's kick out is drilled right down the middle. Cabin is under it, Gallagher travelling, but it's caught cleanly by Michael Darragh Macaulay. Fouled by Neil Gallagher. Donegal get their players back in this open road in front of Jack McCaffrey. Late replacement for Nicky Devereux. Philly McMahon, the cornerback, and that was a cornerback shot. It's unfair to him, though. He does score regularly for Dublin, and Donegal are under pressure. Bernard Brogan now for the lead, and he's done just that. The Dublin forwards putting pressure on the Donegal men when they had the ball. It appeared they turned it over.
Yeah, Donegal will be very disappointed with that. They had that ball actually in their grasp, but good pressure from Dublin. Brogan picks up the pieces, scores a good point. But interestingly, in that last attack by Dublin, all the Donegal defenders were in the middle of the field. The ball was pumped to the wing. Jack McCaffrey was there, and it was he who gave it to Cooper, who initiated the attack.
Clever kick out from Durkin to Oran McNeilish. Off he goes. Such a big impression McNeilish has made with this team in 2014, his first year on the senior panel. But a welcome to the All-Ireland semi-final from Keane O'Sullivan. 5 players in the blue of Dublin close to that sideline ball as it was played in. Here's Cormac Costello. Such an impression off the bench. Let's see what he can do for them from the start. Diarmuid Connolly, they let them shoot from 45 metres out. And if you can do that, they're going to win. If they give them those opportunities, and that's what Donegal are happy enough to do. 3 quick points in the space of 2 minutes. 3-1.
Yeah, that's textbook shooting. Watch Connolly just sees the opportunity. Donegal defence too far back inside their own 45-metre line, not pushing up, and clearly they have worked on that in training. Great score from Connolly.
Well, they've already scored more than they scored in the first half of the 2011 semi-final. Donegal led 4-2 at the break in that game. McNeilish is again the target and found by Durkin. Paddy McGrath takes Cormac Costello with him and Paul Flynn. And Dublin's middle 8 getting back, and Flynn working hard, and McMahon has it. Johnny Cooper, that was telegraphed. Donegal have won it back. McNeilish working hard. Paddy McGrath. Here's Ryan McHugh. Frank McGlynn. McGlynn gets it back. Keane O'Sullivan did enough to put him off. And Johnny Cooper and Philly McMahon there, and that's a foul, and it's a free, and Diarmuid Connolly moves the ball forward because of the descent, and that's a clever one, and Paul Flynn has got there out of his marker. Flynn for Dublin has scored 1 already. Here's Jack McCaffrey, that half-back line getting forward whenever they can. Bernard Brogan, quick hands, quick shot from Paul Flynn. He's got 1, you can make that 2. That is stunning football. How to beat the blanket defence. There it is right there, 4-1 in the 6th minute.
Oh, the pace, the variation that Dublin are bringing to the play at the moment is quite remarkable. Donegal are able to stay with it, but clearly they have worked on this issue of outside shooting, and once more Flynn sees the post, measures it and fires a wonderfully inspirational point. Great start for Dublin.
4 scores from 4 scoring chances. Paul Durkin, the Donegal goalkeeper, is down injured, and there's an incident off the ball inside the Dublin half. Rory O'Carroll has ended up on the ground. Neil Gallagher was close to it as well. You heard the reaction of the supporters. What did the officials see? Joe McQuillan, the referee, was down the other end of the field. James McCarthy has a yellow card against him already. I don't think he was involved in that. But the linesman did spot something and has passed on the information to referee Joe McQuillan. Rory Hickey is the linesman on the other side. He's come in too. Neil Gallagher. And he's got a yellow. This is what happened. Well, was that the initial warning, or was it before that?
I think it was before. They were pushing and shoving at one another here. And then just Gallagher threw him to the ground, and that deserves a yellow card. And then that's what the referee, that's what the linesman pointed, and Michael Murphy then comes in.
We saw a lot of that in Limerick last night, and It was as welcome there as it is here.
Yeah, but again, I don't think there were many cards for it.
Paul Durcan is back to his feet, angling that out wide, and who has that come off last? Neil Gallagher. Dublin ball. Donegal, after their bright start, find themselves trailing by 3, and the discipline issue leads to that being moved forward. Here's Cian O'Sullivan, 13 behind the ball again for Donegal. Jack McCaffrey, Alan Brogan, Michael Dara-McCauley. Diarmuid Connolly available, well, was behind him as McCauley keeps it alive. Philly McMahon, now Jack McCaffrey. They're giving them space out wide. Paddy McGrath's blocked down, and Carl Lacey racing to try, but ultimately failing to prevent the 45. Stephen Cluxton on his way.
Yeah, the pressure exerted that time. I think it was Paddy McGrath, number 4, and Lacey, I don't think, was able to get back in and prevent the ball going out for a 45. But at the moment, Dublin are dictating the pace and the tempo of this game. Their tactics are spot on, and they're applying unremitting pressure to any Donegal player who gets the ball. It's
Bear here in Croke Park. This is a good distance out. There's no wind. Cluxton put it well wide. Support in Croke Park, as they always do. Durcan has given that an almighty belt. Gallagher got hands to it. Michael Dara-McCauley behind. The break comes to Diarmuid Connolly. Philly McMahon. Another blue wave. Cormac Costello. They've been happy to shoot from way out, and that one wasn't great. Owen O'Gara out of picture, just gesturing towards his young teammate. He wanted the ball played into him, Owen O'Gara.
Yeah, but
it never came 2 wides.
Yeah, it's very noticeable though. Donegal are losing the midfield battle at the moment, either in one-to-one contests or on the breaking ball, and they need to just get a grip around the middle at the moment if they're to kind of make inroads. Dublin are just dictating every aspect of the games so far.
James McCarthy pushing right up almost into a centre-forward position as another kick-out goes against Donegal. There was an instruction. You saw a runner coming in to Paul Durcan, but that didn't work. Here's James McCarthy again, runs past Lacey, but Carl Lacey got his own back and has the possession back, and the Dublin forwards put him under pressure. Eamon McGee. Ryan McHugh, the youngest player on the team, he's still under 21 next year. Didn't foul the ball, according to the referee. Carl Lacey. Well, they've held on to it. And that was far too casual from Neil McGee. Bernard Brogan working extremely hard. It's a Donegal free. And more stuff on the ground.
In that last attack, actually, I thought Neil McGee looked quite ponderous when he got the ball that time and looking for support. Donegal's running isn't as free as Dublin's is at the moment, and nobody getting forward.
Leo McClune started the year, played most of his football in the league at centre back, but a very good move up to centre forward. He's a goal getter for them. Eamon McGee, Ryan McHugh, Rory Kavanagh. Here's David Walsh. Oran McNeil is running away from him. Never looked convincing on that attack. Johnny Cooper, wearing gloves today. I think he's the only player, apart from the goalkeepers, with gloves on. Diarmuid Connolly just sauntering forward. James McCarthy, little chip in. O'Gara, great run. What a pass. O'Gara, Brogan. They over-egged it. Couldn't apply the finish, Bernard Brogan. Donegal cannot concede goals here if they're going to win. They haven't scored a goal themselves against Dublin in 4 championship meetings. Here they come. Rory Kavanagh changing the angle. Neil Gallagher with Rory O'Carroll in tow. Ryan McHugh. McHugh has pace to burn and outrageous skill. Oran McNeilish. Colin McFadden has come out with them. Michael Fitzsimon's there also. Michael Murphy drifting all over the place, as is his wont. Good run forward from Carl Lacey. Now Lacey, plenty of space, can steady down, really should score and does score. Lovely point from Carl Lacey. There was more purpose about the attack. Donegal's first from play, their first score in 11 minutes. And for all the good football Dublin have played, just 2 between them.
Yeah, but good play from Murphy that time. Spotted Lacey on the overlap, and Lacey just did the rest. Lovely, well-measured score.
This is the Brogan goal chance down at the other end.
Oh, very, very casual by Bernard Brogan. Again, O'Gara might have gone for the score himself, but unselfishly give it to Brogan, who'll be disappointed with the outcome.
McCarthy's pass, though, something to behold. Here's Alan Brogan as he puts some distance on the ball, looking for the brother. Not finding him, and that's harmlessly wide, shepherded out by Neil McGee.
Yeah, here's the Brogan chance coming up again. Once it's a little bit behind him, actually. The pass, in fairness, is that little bit behind him, and it makes it very difficult. But good pressure from McGee results in the ball and the opportunity being lost.
Play on, says the referee. Rory Cavan has stopped, but Anthony Thompson has it. Thompson, not a great ball, awful ball. Michael Darragh Macaulay, and Thompson needs to get back into position because they're extremely quick on the counter. Johnny Cooper slowing it down a bit. Michael Darragh Macaulay. Bernard Brogan, Owen O'Gara drifting away from Eamon McGee. Here's Bernard Brogan with Neil McGee there. Options inside. Owen O'Gara couldn't get to it. Carl Lacey is there. Scrap on the ground. And eventually a free out for Donegal.
Yeah, just in the last few minutes, the Donegal defence is starting to get a grip at Dublin. That's good defending that time by Neil McGee, getting back on Bernard Brogan, and good also defending by his brother Eamon, and just forcing numbers actually results in the turnover, brings about the turnover. But Donegal, just in the last couple of moments, are starting to get the grips better, and that kind of blitz that Dublin exerted early in the game has kind of dissipated somewhat.
Almost 10 minutes since Dublin's last score. Eamon McGee. O'Gara got close to him. Frank McGlynn. Anthony Thompson. Now they're out of their own 45. Carl Lacey. Michael Murphy. They were slow enough, Donegal, to get players up to join him. He's gone for Colin McFadden, just 2 points from play in this year's championship. This looks good again. Here's David Walsh weaving one way then the other. McCarthy's out of the game. Ryan McHugh's attempt at a point, and a wonderful catch from Stephen Cluxton. Seemed to be going over. He caught it just level with the crossbar. Michael Darragh Macaulay. Bernard Brogan and Owen O'Gara in close to goal. Donegal swarming back. Diarmuid Connolly. Johnny Cooper. Jack McCaffrey. Paul Flynn. They're giving him that space again. We've seen his eye is in. It's most certainly in. 3 from Paul Flynn. Their first since the 5th minute.
Yeah, the boys were pre-seen beforehand watching Flynn, or doing a piece about Flynn. He's got 3 wonderful scores up to date, and that'll be disappointment for Donegal because they had a good opportunity. I think it was David Walsh made great inroads. Ryan McHugh's effort at goals just a little bit short, but good goalkeeping by Cluxton, and from the counter-attack, a Dublin score at the other side. That's a big, a big turnover in that short cameo.
5-2. Incredible distance on the kick out from Paul Durkin. Rory O'Carroll. Anthony Murphy didn't go with him. Neil Gallagher's moved back out the field. Alan Brogan. Paul Flynn. Diarmuid Connolly spots a gap and goes. Connolly on the left boot. That's a stunning score. Left, right. He can do it all and has done it all and continues to perform at the highest level on the biggest stage. 6-2, 2 quick points.
There has been an efficient and a delightful exhibition of long-range kicking from Dublin, and that one by Connolly, to my mind, is the best. Lovely little weave onto what we might regard as a weaker foot, but the execution was superb.
Those 6 Dublin points have all been from play. catching practice for Philly McMahon from the Donegal kick-out. Michael Murphy is out of picture, going back to help the defence as they look to get 14 players behind the ball. And Donegal's persistence paid off, and they break with Anthony Thompson. Here's Michael Murphy now. Just Colin McFadden inside the Dublin 65-metre line. More joining now. Many more. Here's Paddy McGrath up from cornerback. Paul Flynn has gone with him. Ryan McHugh made an angle behind him. McGrath held up by Flynn and by Cian O'Sullivan, and Donegal somehow get the ball back. Oran McNeilish thought about the shot, decided against it. They're 4 points down. Dublin with plenty of players back as well. They've just 2 attackers inside the Donegal half at the moment. Leo McClune, Michael Murphy, quick hands out to Rory Kavanagh. David Walsh is free. Kavanagh decides, well, he got caught in 2 minds as to what to do. Think he was going to take on the shot initially, and then spotted Walsh and badly overhit the pass. The attack comes to nothing.
Yeah, the tackling, the Dublin, the intensity of the Dublin tackling is very, very good. That was a poor pass, but the Donegal attacks are somewhat laboured by comparison with how quick Dublin's are. And just at the moment, again, they have no focal point outside McFadden in the full forward line. Perhaps the odd ball more, into him quicker might reap a dividend.
Cian O'Sullivan won the kick-out. Rory O'Carroll joining, and now Philly McMahon, Alan Brogan, a buzz around the stadium as they go again. Philly McMahon, I told you he does score regularly, and there it is. Had a bad effort earlier on. 7-2, and McMahon playing extremely well for his team as they open up a 5-point lead.
Well, certainly this is becoming a bit of an embarrassment for Donegal to an extent. Like 7 great scores from Dublin, all of them from play, but the ease with which they're penetrating the Donegal backline is a huge worry at the moment. And there's a kick-out one, which is the first one in a long time for Donegal.
And again, it's Oran McNeilish, 3, I think he's won so far for Donegal. Rory Kavanagh, Ryan McHugh. Kavanagh goes again, takes Rory O'Carroll with him. Ryan McHugh is an option, and Kavanagh is fouled. He's kicked one. Michael Murphy for Donegal, curling that in beautifully. And 4 points is quite manageable.
Very much so. Again, a confident strike by Michael Murphy from an awkward angle.
The referee wants the players outside the 20-metre line for Club. Donegal marking tightly out the field, so Stephen Cluxton is forced to kick it long. Cian O'Sullivan had it, but lost it to Oran McNeilish. Donegal's hard work going man-to-man on all the available players paying off. What's at the end of it, though? David Walsh replaced Paddy McBrearty before the throw-in. Even at 2:30, Jim McGuinness told us that he hadn't officially announced his team. Players knew, media hadn't been told. Here's Ryan McHugh. Very difficult to dispossess. Now Rory Kavanagh steadies down, takes on the shot. Rory Kavanagh wide, though. It's actually only their 2nd wide.
Yeah, but they need to maximise these opportunities. Good work that time by McHugh, drawing the defence to him. McCavan will be disappointed with the outcome.
Ball is back in play already. Alan Brogan with Carl Lacey in tow. Cormac Costello moving away from him. Here's Owen O'Gara. Alan Brogan's got space to get his shot away. All from the kick-out. It was pinpoint accurate from Stephen Cluxton. 8-3.
But just the attacking intent of Dublin and the variation in the way they're playing. It's a delight to watch at the moment. Just watch this time. Brogan takes on the defence. It's closed down very well, it must be said, by Lacey. But again, ends up with a very good score.
8 points all from play, and Donegal have got the ball back in motion quickly. Oran McNeilish, James McCarthy in front of him, Frank McGlynn, Colin McFadden. It's been a difficult year for Colin McFadden. Frank McGlynn and Neil Gallagher in at full forward. Michael Murphy is the option for him. Murphy out close to him. Cian O'Sullivan has gone with him. Rory Kavanagh free at the moment. The pass to him wasn't good enough. Kavanagh has it though. David Walsh now. Michael Murphy, Rory Kavanagh. Missed one about 60 seconds ago. and it makes no mistake this time. Rory Kavanagh, good score, just 4 again.
Yeah, had to work very hard for that score, but Kavanagh was involved in the move a couple of times. An unintentional dummy, it must be said, for a moment there, but the finish is excellent.
Stephen Cluxton not wasting any time. Here's Alan Brogan again. Owen O'Gara an option. Cormac Costello. Diarmuid Connolly is in close to him. Costello goes. Now Connolly. Goal chance for Dublin. Connolly! Great save from Durkin. It was hit straight at him. But the Donegal man kept the ball out of the back of the net. They cannot let Dublin score goals, and that's what Durkin did right there. Connolly should really have scored. Frank McGlynn takes it out. Still a 4-point game in the 24th minute. Monaghan stayed with Dublin for 25 minutes and then the floodgates opened. They've been running up huge scores, 988. They scored coming into this game today in 4 championship games. James McCarthy, Alan Brogan out of picture, looks a little winded, but others will take the ball into Donegal territory. Jack McCaffrey. Diarmuid Connolly fancies it. There were others in better positions, but an apology to his forward teammates. Here was the goal chance.
Yeah, great work this time as Jack McCaffrey gives it to Connolly. Connolly gets onto his stronger foot. That's a fabulous save by Paul Durkin. Got down well. A goal at this stage of the game, I think, for Dublin would have ended the game as a contest. But you just have to kind of admire the enterprising nature of the Dublin attacks and the coordination that is evident in it and the speed with which they are executing.
Donegal, huge underdogs, more than holding their own, and can they trim this 4-point lead? Christy Toy, it appears, is about to come in for Donegal. Leo McClune. McClune going, that's Cormac Costello there with him. Colin McFadden jumps on the ball. Michael Fitzsimon's there with him, and Fitzsimons wins it back. That's a big turnover. Michael Darrell McCauley. Johnny Cooper. Paul Flynn is screaming for it in the centre, but it's Diarmuid Connolly who's got it. Bernard Brogan is the furthest forward. Owen O'Gara loves the physical stuff and got plenty of it right there in that challenge. Diarmuid Connolly, lovely sidestep, solo, the works. Connolly, genius. 9-4.
Well, that score is worth the admission, it must be said. Beautiful little dummy on right foot, left foot. Gets it on to what would regard again as his weaker foot. That's a beautiful score by Connolly. Playing so well up to now.
David Walsh going off the Donegal team. Christy Toy, his replacement, and Diarmuid Connolly has taken a knock. There's Christy Toy.
Yeah, but just going back on the Dublin team, you just have to admire the subtlety and the variation they have in their movements, you know, the coordination that they have in their forward line. And again, when Donegal build attacks, the Dublin players are all back as a unit. They're able to move from defence to attack effortlessly. As against that, when Donegal are attacking, they're slow to get bodies forward, and that has been their Achilles heel in the past. It is still maybe an issue with them.
I think Diarmuid Connolly is going to be okay. They'd like to be closer, but 5 points is okay. Get to half-time in that sort of shape and they'll be happy enough, I would think. Here's Christy Toy now. Fresh legs in. James McCarthy there with him. Toy. Ryan McHugh dropped one short earlier on. Makes no mistake now. And they're closer again. Hovering at that 4-point deficit. First point for Ryan McHugh. Oran McNeilish. They haven't managed 2 points in a row in the match, Donegal. This may be the moment. Oran McNeilish, Ryan McHugh. McNeilish has it again. Great left boot on him, trying to draw this in. And there is 2 in a row. Moving nicely now, Donegal. 3 between them.
That's fabulous work with McNeilish. So composed on the ball that time for a newcomer. Took his time, played a little 1-2 with McHugh and over the bar, but that's a great response from Donegal.
The Ulster champions have got 3 of the last 4 points. Keane O'Sullivan for Dublin. That was for Owen O'Gara. No way through there. Donegal having an awful lot more of the ball in the last 10 minutes of this game. And here they come, looking to get closer than 3 points. Neil Gallagher, Johnny Cooper there with him. He's just holding him off. He's incredibly strong, Gallagher. Christy Toy. Now Rory Kavanagh. Michael Murphy out towards him. 2 dubs near him. Murphy has got a gap. Michael Murphy for Donegal will take this pointer, will try to. That's some miss. He'll be furious with himself. Normally scores those with his eyes closed. Here's Diarmuid Connolly for Dublin. Pace of the whole thing is lifted now. Just over 5 minutes to half-time. Donegal, written off all over the place, are more than in touch. Poor hands from Owen O'Gara. Donegal defending as if their lives depend on it.
I just said there, you know, the initial sparring and that kind of bliss that Dublin had early on has somewhat simmered down, and Donegal are starting to get a grip. And those 2 opportunities that McHugh, I think, and Murphy had, that they both dropped short, will be a big disappointment to them.
They've got a grip now. Oran McNeilish, Michael Murphy from further out the field, and that's the Michael Murphy we know. Lovely score from the Donegal captain. And what about that for a scoreline? 9-7 they trail, 3 in a row.
Fantastic, and there was a lot of anger in that right boot as he put that over the bar. I'd say angry at himself at the previous miss, but that is a magnificent response from Donegal, and an intelligent response.
And the crowd are into this now. Cluxton, great catch from Michael Darragh Macaulay. Open road in front of the Footballer of the Year from last year. Now Paddy McGrath's there with him. Macaulay has been stopped, and Donegal turned the ball over. Going their way now, big time. Here's Rory Kavanagh. Bernard Brogan there with him. Donegal turning the ball over 10 times. Dublin have been no slouches in that regard either. Here's Colin McFadden. Michael Fitzsimon's there with him. Paddy McGrath playing like a right half forward. Philly McMahon and Bernard Brogan there with him. They've fouled him.
Didn't take that. They're quite happy with that. The turn number 4's having a little argument with McGrath and McMahon, but McGrath that time went to McMahon. McMahon just gave away the free unnecessarily. He had numbers there, and he's frustrated.
Michael Murphy is trotting out to take the free. That's Michael Darragh Macaulay. Possession taken off him. You do not see that happen very often around here. It was a wonderful catch in the first place, and he was under pressure too. Michael Murphy has taken the free already. Oran McNeilish got under that one, got well under it, and it's gone wide, their 3rd. Well, 6 minutes ago we were saying that a 5-point deficit for Donegal wasn't bad at all. Get to half-time in that kind of shape.
That's right, 22 minutes, 3 points saved. Look at exactly what it is now. There's a great response, and a spirited response from Donegal.
First 5 minutes they were taken asunder, but Donegal have found their feet in Croke Park. Have to do it again now as Bernard Brogan is on the prowl. Eamon McGee with him, Paul Flynn, and Flynn human after all. Carl Lacey, Rory Kavanagh, Frank McGlynn, Leo McClune. McClune, that's a Donegal free. Dublin players were claiming that McClune held onto it too long, but the referee decided that he had been fouled.
Yes, the Donegal players weren't getting forward that time, and McClune had actually nobody to give it the ball to, but again, a little bit of indiscipline cost Dublin.
Now, interesting ball. Cluxton is out with Michael Murphy. Cluxton there with him. Michael Fitzsimon's contact on Colin McFadden. Goal chance. McHugh! Goal! Donegal lead! Ryan McHugh! His brother is watching from the stands. He was key to their success in 2012. Ryan McHugh, the 20-year-old, has made his mark in Croke Park. And what about this? Donegal lead by 1-7 to 9 points against the team everybody said, or most people said, was unbeatable.
Fantastic. We talked a few minutes ago about a long ball in. That might help them a little bit, but got to work that time. A credit on Murphy.
A bit of history for Ryan McHugh, Donegal's first ever championship goal against Dublin, and this is right in the mix now. Dublin's last score was in the 25th minute. Donegal have put over and put under 1-3 without reply. Ryan McHugh, Carl Lacey. Neil Gallagher. Oran McNeilish. Paddy McGrath. As they probe for an opening. Dublin have plenty of players back, 12 behind the ball. Oran McNeilish really growing into this thing. Carl Lacey, McNeilish